All right, this is Algebra 2. This is question 3-38, Part E. Remember, we are solving equations by rewriting them. And remember, we've been talking about if there's a fraction in our equation, and that makes it more difficult, the fraction bar just means to divide. So if I want to get rid of my fraction, I have to undivide or I have to multiply, okay? And here I want to look carefully. These two terms are being divided by x, and this term is being divided by x minus 1. Okay, now let's think about that. If x could be anything in the world, 10, what's x minus 1? Well, it would be 9. This could be 21 and 20, 7 and 6, etc. Okay, there aren't necessarily common factors in these, so we have to multiply by x and x minus 1. Okay, so I'm multiplying everything times x and x minus 1. Remember, those are both over 1, so we're not doing anything on the bottom. Okay, so times x and times x minus 1, times x minus 1, times x minus 1. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Let's look at each term separately, and remember, terms are separated by pluses, minuses, or equal signs, and let's see what kind of giant ones we can cancel out. So in the first term, there's an x on the bottom, x on the top. There's my giant 1. Well, what's remaining? X minus 3 and x minus 1. Okay, we'll deal with that in a little bit. Plus, what happens here? This x minus 1 is a full term together. That gets canceled with the x minus 1 on top. What's remaining? 2x equals x and x cancel out. What's remaining? 5 minus x times x minus 1. Okay? Now, in order to solve this equation, I actually need to multiply these two things out. Okay? You can use a generic rectangle, or some of you can do this in your head by now. It's okay if you cannot. Okay? If you're using a generic rectangle to multiply these out, nothing wrong with that. 5 minus x and x minus 1. I get a negative x squared. That's kind of weird. We don't always get that. Positive x, negative 5. So I'm going to get equals negative x squared. Doesn't look a whole lot like an equal sign. Let's try that again. 5x and x makes 6x, and then a minus 5. Now remember, if I'm going to solve something with an x squared and an x, I better get everything to the same side. And I want to be careful because this is an x squared and this is a negative x squared. So when I bring this over, I'm adding 1x squared plus 1x squared. Okay, now I have a negative 4, a positive 2, that's negative 2, and I'm bringing over the 6. That's a lot in one step. But negative 4, positive 2, and negative 6 gives me negative 8x. Okay, I have a positive 3, and I'm bringing that 5 over. It will be a positive 5, so that's plus 8. And because I brought everything over from the right, now it is equal to 0. Now before I start solving this, I notice all of these are even. So to make my life easier, that's what this whole section is about. How do I make my life easier? I can divide everything by 2. When I say everything, I mean everything, and it's okay to do this. Makes our life easier, and this is still a 0. Okay. Now if I try and factor that, I'm not sure it's really going to factor. Ooh, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2. I bet it does. X minus 2, x minus 2. It does. If I add negative 2 and negative 2, I get negative 4. If I multiply, I get positive 4. So x equals 2 is my one and only solution to this. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my calculator trick. 2 store is x. Okay, then I'm going to do alpha, y equals, enter, x minus 3 over x plus alpha, y equals, enter, 2 over x minus 1. Now that's just the left side. I'm going to hit equals, and then I'm going to do the right side. Alpha, y equals, enter, 5 minus x over x. And I'm getting 3 halves and 3 halves. Those two sides of the equals, or the equation sign, are the same, which tells me I have the correct answer.